Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today, and so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekly daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about why right now is becoming an incredible time to buy Bitcoin. Here is my favorite part of analyzing cryptocurrency markets, being able to actually do something with them. You see, if we analyze a cryptocurrency market, and we make a prediction about where it's going to go, or we make a prediction about where it's going to bottom, or we make a prediction about where it's going to reverse, and we don't do anything with that, then all we have done is meaninglessly opened our mouths and rambled. The sound coming out of our mouth will be the same as just banging on a bell. It doesn't really mean anything. But if we are able to apply that which we learn through our analysis into actionable steps that we can put into our life, then that, my friends, is where we will actually succeed financially in the cryptocurrency space. And that's what we're here to do. We're here not only to discuss where Bitcoin is going to go next and why, we're also here to discuss exactly how that's going to happen. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to continue looking at some of our predictions, some of which seem to be happening and coming true right now. And then we'll be discussing how exactly we ought to respond to that. And then with that in mind, we'll be discussing a few different things that we need to keep in mind as we succeed in the cryptocurrency space. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for over 7 years now, and I absolutely love it. I'm still learning. I have so much to learn. But here's the thing that I have learned. I have learned that we've got to be consistent. I have learned that we've got to pick the disciplines that matter, and we've got to do them over and over again. One of them is just plain and simply investing. Another one is plain and simply showing up and learning more about the markets. And so that's what we're going to do today together as well. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat. Chris Mo's in chat. Bent Can 14 is in chat. Pew Pew Poom 2 in chat. Brandon Sandoval, Bjorn BCY, and Schmedley B in chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Pew Pew Poom 2 said, "Oh Jeb, my perpetual top signal never change." What do you mean I'm your top signal? I'm your signal that you're at the top? No, what? It's your signal that you've hit the top of the mountain? What do you mean? Signal that the market has come in and hit its top? I don't think the market has hit its top, but what I do believe is that Bitcoin is getting closer to a bottom. You see, when Bitcoin goes through a major rally, it needs time to correct. Just the same way that if you are a runner and you sprint a distance, you need time to walk. If you are lifting weights, you need to pick up the weight, and after a while, you can only pick it up so far. You need to actually put it down. The same way that if you're in business, eventually you're going to need to take a sabbatical. If you are living your life, eventually you're going to need a Sabbath. You're going to need to rest. This is a fact of life, that humans need rest, and anything that humans lay their hands on needs rest, and a market is just the same. A market needs rest just the same way as any other thing that a human being interacts with does. When the market is rallying and increasing in price, it's going to need time to rest sometime. And that's what we're witnessing right now. We're simply seeing a corrective movement. Yesterday, we updated and reemphasized the prediction that we had of Bitcoin bottoming out somewhere between $60,000 and $63,000. And we restated that that was our prediction. A little over a week ago, On Tuesday, September the 24th, 2024, we made a prediction that Bitcoin would bottom out somewhere in this green circle, and we decided to leave it on the chart because we believe that that would occur. Yesterday, I kind of updated the prediction. I said, look, Bitcoin could actually drop as low as this downtrending level of resistance, or actually, excuse me, downtrending level of support right here. And so a bottoming out down to this level, I now think is possible. But the point is, this is a corrective movement before we see a major uptrend come. And so we're going to talk about what happens next on Bitcoin. But then again, most importantly, we're going to talk about what we should actually do with it. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. Nick Halterman in chat. Indie Rock Crypto said, much West Michigan love. Shout out to West Michigan. I've got a lot of family up there. Are you in the UP or are you in the Lower Peninsula, West Michigan? We've got some family up out of Ironwood, Michigan, and out of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. So shout out to Michigan and Wisconsin. Drinking from my Crypto Jeb mug today. Boom. Love it. All right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about where Bitcoin is going next. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss. First and foremost, we need to actually look at our indicators because we want to be making sure that we're making a data-based approach. The first thing to point out is on the daily chart, we do have a bearish cross that has come in on the MACD. The moving average convergence divergence has flipped bearish. We do have a bearish cross, and that indicates that Bitcoin is now in a confirmed downtrend on the daily chart. We've had two major red candlesticks forming here on the daily chart, which does indicate that there is a great deal of bearish strength. Same thing on the RSI. We've seen the RSI drop here below 50, once again indicating that there is a great deal of bearish strength. And our very own Crypto Jeb oscillator that we built in partnership with the LUX Algo team has seen a major reversal to the downside. We've seen a lot of bearishness coming out of the Crypto Jeb oscillator. The daily chart is showing us a great degree of bearishness right now. What we don't necessarily think is that that's going to continue into a total capitulation. At this point, I'm more so expecting a bounce somewhere in this region. We bottomed out into this zone, and right now it looks like with the updated information that we've had in the week and a half since we made that prediction, that Bitcoin is actually probably going to bottom out somewhere down in this zone. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle once again. That'll be kind of our updated prediction of where we think Bitcoin's going to bottom out based on everything that we're seeing. At this point in time, I'm more so expecting that Bitcoin's going to bottom out somewhere between $60,000, which is where we're going to place the top of this box, which is basically right where we are. It's possible that we bottomed out already because we came down and touched that box, but otherwise I think we're going to either bottom out on this downtrending level of support or on this uptrending level of support. And here's what we want to do with that. If Bitcoin does fall down into this zone, what we need to be watching out for is a buying opportunity. If Bitcoin drops down into a buy zone, then we need to be willing to buy and hold for the long term. Here is exactly how you're going to succeed in cryptocurrency or an investment. You've got to ask yourself two questions. Number one, do you believe in this market in the long term? And do you believe in it for a good, fact-based, logic-based, evidence-based reason? And two, do you have the patience to lock money up in that market for the very long term? Don't call yourself an investor if you're going to buy for a few days and then you're going to walk away. Don't buy if you're going to buy for a few weeks or a few months and then walk away. And also, don't buy and get spooked because of a missile attack and walk away. Pew Pew Poom 2 brought something up that we should discuss here, and that is that there is a conflict going on right now between Iran and Israel, which we pretty much always knew was going to happen. You can read about this just about anywhere that you want. There have been hundreds of rockets launched out of Iran into Israel in one of the largest rocket attacks directly from Iran into Israel ever. And so the conflagration of war seems to be spreading in the Middle East. And of course, as Pew Pew Poom 2 you're talking about in chat, and something I was going to bring up today later on anyway, there is a great degree of escalation going on in the Middle East. So let's kind of look at this, because this is the other piece of analysis that we need to do to actually understand what the market's doing. While I'm pulling up Google Maps, let's also take a look here at the United States S&P 500. This has not seemingly caused a major disturbance yet on the S&P 500, but it very well may. We just haven't seen how that's going to play out yet. But if we zoom out here and we look at at the map here, essentially what happened in the Middle East. Just a little bit of history. At one point in time, the British Empire and the French Empire owned most of what is on this map, other than Turkey, because that was under the Ottoman control. But the Brits and the French ruled just about everything else here. When they started to decolonize after the Second World War, some lines were drawn arbitrarily on the map, and some very important decisions were made that did not really consider the different ethnic groups that made up these different nations of Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, etc. And so the nation-state of Israel was created by United Nation decree. Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon were created, their modern counterparts. And there are a lot of different ethnic groups. There are several different denominations of the Muslim faith in this area. That you have primarily the Sunni and the Shia. And so when you started drawing lines on a map, it didn't really lead anywhere good, because you didn't have national unity around something, whether it be culture or it be around a founding idea. In the United States, there's a lot of different races, there's a lot of different cultures, and that's actually our culture, right? That's our national identity. We're the blending pot, right? We all kind of unite around the idea of the Revolutionary War. We all unite around, at least we try to unite around, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And so we have unifying ethics, unifying history that unites us. Several of these nations in this area didn't. And so things broke down very quickly. And so the Middle East, to keep this short, has been in an almost nonstop state of war for a very long time. And then you get to Israel, this small little nation right here on the West Bank. And this is the state that has been in near nonstop war for about 3,000 years. Now, we can get into the biblical reasons of all this, but what's most important right now is the recent history. Israel was attacked out of Gaza right over here into these towns in this area about a year ago. And when Gaza crossed the 1950 armistice agreement line and crossed the border and everything and sent these attacks over here, Israel came down extremely hard on Gaza. And so there's been a war between Hamas in Gaza and Israel for quite some time. Not long after that, Hezbollah in Lebanon started getting involved. And so Israel was now fighting a war on two fronts, between Lebanon and Hezbollah in Lebanon, which is one of the largest terrorist organizations on the planet, and between Hamas in Gaza. And so Israel has been in that conflict for the last year or so. Then you zoom out and you have the fact that Iran has essentially said for a very long time that it is one of their desires to wipe Israel off the face of the map using nuclear weapons if necessary. And so we also know, this is not a theory, but it's also very obvious that Iran works with Hamas and Hezbollah. And you can talk all day about what you think about that. I'm here to discuss facts, not your opinion. The fact is that that Iran, even though there are disagreements there between whether you're a Sunni Muslim or a Shia Muslim, there's a lot of differences there between the leadership and the people that fight for Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran. There's disagreements there over what they think about their faith. They all agree on one thing, and that's that Israel shouldn't exist. And so it was always a concern that Iran was going to get involved in this conflict, and it's not surprising that they have. What we need to watch now is whether this escalates or not, because no one really knows for sure whether Iran has nuclear weapons or not. We hope they don't, but we don't really know that. We also don't actually really know whether Israel does. And so what we're witnessing right now is simply the same thing that we've seen time and time again in the Middle East, which is, again, this spreading conflagration of war. And that is going to destabilize global markets. And that's pretty much all we need to talk about on that topic today, to get to the heart of how it's impacting Bitcoin. And that is just the same as any story that would bring FUD into a space. Naturally, this is a story that brings a lot more pain and suffering than just about anything else, because there's, bombs going off and people are getting seriously hurt. But its impact on market is largely the same as any other FUD story. There is uncertainty, there is fear, and there is doubt about the future of the global markets. There is uncertainty, there is fear, there is doubt about whether a nuclear weapon is going to go off. There is fear, uncertainty, and doubt about whether an Iranian invasion of Israel would be staged. Now, that seems unlikely at this point, but we don't really know. But what we do know is that markets don't like war in the Middle East unless that market happens to be in the arms trade, which is why, personally, I don't think the S&P 500 has dropped as bad as it could have. Because oftentimes wars like this end up becoming a profiteering scam for companies in the West. That being said, Bitcoin's market seems to be much more populist. It seems to be much less driven by what the big corporations think and much more driven by what the individual thinks. And so a lot of times you're seeing on Bitcoin's front a lot more FUD hitting it a lot easier because the individual is not looking to profit off of a war between Iran and Israel. Whereas a lot of the different companies in the S&P 500 very well may find a way to do that. So it doesn't necessarily hit their bottom line as much, whereas Bitcoin is very, very, very dependent on the sentiment of its own market and also the sentiment of the rest of the world. And so with Bitcoin having this kind of news going on, we are naturally seeing some FUD coming out about that. Now, whether or not we can say that this correction is because of the attack on Israel is unclear. It's difficult to pinpoint that. But what we can say is that Bitcoin had already been on a corrective movement over the last few days, even before even before Iran began launching these 400 missiles and then the other attacks that followed. What we can say is that Bitcoin was already in a corrective movement, and what we can say is that Bitcoin had already been looking at this bearish MACD cross. So whether it is the fundamental landscape shifting more in the fear, uncertainty, and doubt direction, or whether it is the technical analysis shifting in a more fear, uncertainty, and doubt direction, the point is the market is shifting more in a fear, uncertainty, and doubt direction. And so that is typical of Bitcoin going through a corrective movement, which leads us to our prediction, which is that this corrective movement may not be over. When Bitcoin goes into a correction, though, we don't wait for the bottom. Nope. That's not what we do. We don't wait for the bottom to acquire. We dollar cost average. We do disciplined and consistent acquisition. Jeb, I thought DCA stood for dollar cost average. Around here, it stands for disciplined, consistent acquisition. But Jeb, I don't feel motivated to buy right now. I don't feel like a motivated buyer. Okay. I didn't say be a motivated, do a motivated acquisition. I said do disciplined and consistent acquisition. There are plenty of times in the last, 2,500, 3,000 videos that are on this channel that I sat down to record a video and I had no clue how I was going to provide value in that video. And you know what happens? Most of the time when I do that, I end up making a really good video because I'm not sitting down there pridefully thinking, I know exactly what I need to do here. No. Sometimes I sit down and I say, I am going to be disciplined. I'm going to make a video right now because that's what I said I'm going to do. And then it ends up working because I did something with discipline and consistency, and I applied what I knew. And it ends up working. Sometimes you go on a run. I run every single day, 7 days a week. Haven't missed a day. Sometimes you go on a run and you think, man, I don't feel good right now. I feel really bad right now. Yesterday, I basically walked my entire mile because the day before I ran 4 miles and I was absolutely gassed and I have a newborn, so I'm not recovering very well. And it's a very, very, very difficult season for us right now. So thank you for your prayers on that. But what I am saying is that, and even today, I sit down to do this stream today. I'm an hour late. Let's just be honest for a second. Jeb, you suck at being on time. Wow. Come on, man. But I said to myself, I've got a stream to do. I know I'm late. I couldn't get Photoshop up to fix the thumbnail. Oh well, we're going live because I've got a job to do and I'm going to show up even if I'm not going to be able to be perfect because I want to be disciplined in consistently applying my principles of show up and do the best you can. It is not about buying the dip any more than it is about me getting the thumbnail perfect or it is any more about me being exactly on time, although that needs to happen and I am working on that. It's very difficult right now with everything that we're dealing with. Not to make excuses, but just to say, man, I've got some learning to do. I've got some growing to do. You guys can see it. You know, we can talk about it all day. Jeb, man, you got to grow, Jeb. You say some cool stuff, but let's see it, right? I've got to be disciplined and consistently applying my principles. If you want to succeed in anything, whether it be investment, business, relationships, you name it, you've got to be disciplined in consistently applying your principles. And the principle that we need to lean on here is the fifth law of money, which is thus: save and invest for a time where you are not able to generate wealth. The law is save and invest your money. The fifth law of money is to save and invest your money. We're going to be disciplined in consistently applying the principle of savings and investment. We're going to invest through dollar cost averaging. This is the other DCAing. This is the sub-component of disciplined, consistent acquisition. That's the first step of fulfilling the Law 5, save and invest, right? Step 1, we're going to dollar cost average. That's us doing our investment part. And then 2, we're going to stack cash. This is our principle. This is exactly what we're going to do over and over and over again. And so how do we apply, how do we combine our principles and how do we apply our analysis so that we actually have something to do? Because here's the thing. Let me put it this way. If you have the right principles, but you don't have the right actions, you sound like a philosopher. If you have the right actions, but you don't have the right principles, then you seem like a wanderer. When you have the right principles with the right actions, then you seem like a conqueror. How's that? It's not just about us having the right principles and the right knowledge about the market, because then we seem like a philosopher. Oh, he's so wise. But what has he done with it? I never want to be that. That's my biggest fear, is to know the right thing and not have done the right thing. I don't want to do the right actions. Oh, I invest sometimes. I stack cash and I'm disciplined and I show up and I work smart, or I work hard rather. I work hard, but I don't have the right principles, and so I squander the money I made because I went into debt, or I lose it all because I didn't track my spending. I didn't have a budget and a plan for the money. Because I don't want you to be a wanderer. No, instead, I want you to have the right principles and the right information, which is the right principles of the laws of money in the financial sovereignty way. And I want you to have the right tools to succeed through technical analysis to be able to understand where the market is moving. But I can't have you just be a philosopher. I also need you to do the right thing with the principles. I need you to actually disciplined in a disciplined and consistent fashion. I need you to apply what you've learned. What you have learned is that there is a great likelihood that Bitcoin could continue correcting here, but we are not totally sure of that. So what do we do in a time where the bottom may have been in, but we're not really sure? You dollar cost average and you stack cash. And anytime you get a hint that you might be close to a bottom, you put a little bit of cash in, maybe 1%, maybe 2%, not the whole portfolio. No, never deploy all your cash. I don't care how far Bitcoin crashes. Never, ever, ever deploy all your cash. I don't care if Bitcoin is right here. I do not care where Bitcoin is. I don't care if it's here. I don't care if it's here. I don't care if it's here. Never deploy all your cash, because you don't know in the moment that the bottom's in. The market goes lower, you could have got a better deal. Now, the further we get to the downside, the farther you get to the downside on the Bollinger Bands, the farther you get to the downside on the RSI, the more likely it is a reversal's coming. Obviously, you can get to a point where you have a great deal of confidence that a bottom's in. Sure. And in that time, you might deploy 60, 70, 80, 90, 95% of your cash, but hold on to a little bit of it because you're not totally sure that you found the bottom. There might be another dip. But as the market drops, buy more. This is not complicated. What's complicated is you going to anybody else's channel, going to any other stream, going anywhere else, and the point is the technical analysis. Friends, I have a belt over my shoulder right there. I was voted the best technical analyst in the cryptocurrency space. Am I saying that to brag? No. Also, I was come up to by the guy that runs that at the Bitcoin conference. He tells me, hey, by the way, you actually won the next year's, but you didn't see our email, so we had to give it to the runner-up. I won it 2 years in a row. I didn't even realize I won it the second year. Felt like a doofus. I know what I'm talking about on technical analysis, and because I know what I'm talking about on technical analysis, and because I have authority in that subject, I will be the first to tell you that if the TA is the point, you've missed the point. Most people won't tell you that. Most people won't tell you that. If the TA is the point, then you've missed the point. How's that? If the TA is the point, then you've missed the point. The point is not the TA. The point is to build wealth. And if you think for 1 second that just understanding technical analysis is enough for you to build wealth, you are dead wrong. But if you think that you can build wealth in cryptocurrency and not understand technical analysis, you might be able to. But it would definitely be a lot easier if you had technical analysis. Do you understand where I'm going with this? For years, the only thing you heard me teach on this channel was technical analysis. And by the way, the channel got a lot more views back then. But that's not who I am. That's not me being true to who I am. Here's the reason that people trust me when I say something. It's because I don't care what the consequences are. I am going to be true to what is true. I'm going to tell the truth, period. Period. End of discussion. You're not going to catch me lying. God forbid, heaven help me. Now that I say that, obviously I say it all the time, the devil will try and tempt me, but I do not lie to the very best of my capacity. I cannot remember the last time I told a lie. Have I done it? Heck yeah, I have, and so have you, so don't get on a high horse. But I don't remember the last time. It's been a while. I try and be honest, and one of the things that I'm honest about on this channel is that technical analysis is not the be-all, end-all of building wealth. Financial sovereignty is, and that has lost me a lot of viewership over the years, and that's okay, because people that don't get that are going to continue to wander, and they're going to wander and wander and wander, and then they're going to look at our community in 5-10 years and say, wow, you guys are really successful. How'd you do that? Oh, I see, because you actually put financial sovereignty above technical analysis while also still mastering technical analysis, because it's like saying that you're a carpenter, but you don't know how to use a hammer. You're not going to get far. You need to understand how to use the tools, but just knowing how to use a hammer does not make a carpenter. You've got to understand that the way you build wealth is not about technical analysis. It is not about cryptocurrency. It is not about the United States stock market. It is everything to do with obeying and honoring God's word on money. I just heard a song from Dolly Parton yesterday. You know, I was born in Dolly Parton Birthing Center, 2 miles from Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, the hometown of the country music queen herself. And I never really listened to any of her music, but I was listening to her music, and a song came on. It said, "Don't make me come down there." And basically the beginning of the song is she's saying, I had a dream last night. God was up on a mountain, and this is what God said. And the song says, don't make me come down there and straighten your butt out, basically. And in the song, a verse is, look it up, it's called Don't Make Me Come Down There by Dolly Parton. I think she really captured the essence of what a good father is and what the Father in heaven is like when we're sinning and rebelling against him. And in the song, God says, Dolly Parton's quoting God, you know, theoretically, it's like a vision she says she had. And God says, oh goodness, what did he say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Set myself up here. Don't you think that you can disobey and still win? Let me pull this up. Here we go. I've told you time and time again, you can't disobey and hope to win. I am still the boss here, in case there's any doubt. You know I put you in this world, and I can take you out, says God in the song. If you want to disobey what God said on money, then have fun being poor. If you want to succeed with money, get reading your Bible and spend more time in the Word. By the way, here's what you're going to learn. And it doesn't specifically spell this out anywhere in the Word. That's my job as a preacher. What I have told you in the darkness, speak in the light, Jesus Christ says in the book of Matthew chapter 10. What I have told you in private, share publicly, he says. What he has shown me through his Word is that there are 6 laws of money. Choose financial sovereignty. Live on less than you make. Have a written plan for your money. Get out and stay away from debt. Save and invest and be radically generous. When you do those 6 things, here's what's going to happen. You're going to succeed with money. Not a single French penny of what I just said has anything to do with crypto, although you can apply it to cryptocurrency. When the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market crashes, here's the principle you apply. Financial sovereignty. I'm going to choose to be sovereign over my wealth. How do I do that? I'm going to understand the market that I'm involved in, because I cannot control something I don't understand. I am in control of the development and the growth of my son Malachi, who turned 4 recently. If I don't understand Malachi, I have no chance of controlling his growth and helping him to succeed. I have to understand him. in the market. If you want to succeed with this market, you must understand this market, which is where technical analysis comes in. You are following the first law of money, which is to understand the market itself. Capiche? Cool. Law number 2, we're going to live on less than we make. If you are running a deficit every month, you have zero business investing in Bitcoin, period. Period. None. I probably convicted a quarter of the people watching this right now. If you are not running a surplus every month, i.e. you're bringing in $10,000 a month, spending 12, i.e. you're bringing in, I don't know, $2.5 trillion, spending 4, Congress, you have zero business investing. None. Stop now. You are not an investor. You are a fool, and you need to clean that up. I love you enough to tell you that you got to change, man. Woohoo! It's not going to be good for you if you keep that up. You can only run towards a cliff for so long before you fall off the dang thing. Step number 3, we've got to have a plan for our money. You need an investment plan. You want to succeed in Bitcoin? Here's your plan. Every interval, I or we shall invest X into Y on Z. It rhymes. Every interval, I or we will invest X into Y on Z. Every paycheck, let me zoom out here and make this a little bit easier to see. By the way, guys, you guys are going to see this a lot. What we're teaching is going to blow up. I've got some things I've got to learn and figure out how to actually run the company and everything with, you know, the health complications we're going through. But this is going to be big. You're going to see books written about this. You're going to see, I mean, this is going to be big. You're going to see this everywhere. Every interval, I believe anyway, and I pray. Every interval, we will invest X into Y on Z. Here's how you follow the third law of money. Have a plan for your money. Every interval, we will invest X into Y on Z. Every interval, I or we will invest X into Y on Z. It almost sounds like a song, right? Every paycheck, we will invest $100 into Bitcoin on Coinbase. Boom. How simple is that? You're following the third law of money. Good job. You see how making money is not actually about the market you're in? It's about whether you're following the laws of money. Let me write this out. Let's do this. Let's do this. This will be a good way to describe this. You guys are going to see a lot of this in the FinSop Academy. This is kind of what we're going to be doing. Law 3. Have a plan for your money. Let's do this. Let's pull this up here. Let's see. Let's do this. We'll take our time. We'll make this nice. Law 1. Choose FinSov. Here's how we're going to do that. Do TA, what's that? FA/sentiment analysis and actually understand the assets we own. That's how we follow law number 1. We're choosing financial sovereignty. Oh, and by the way, in here, we're also going to have proper privacy and security. This is good. This is really good. We're going to end up putting this in the Financial Sovereignty Academy. Just you watch what I'm doing right here, how we actually apply the laws of money. Law 2. Live on less than you make. How do we apply that? If you don't have a surplus, don't invest. Wow. Man, I've just got so much knowledge to drop on you guys. If you don't have money, don't spend it. Wow. Man, we're on a roll here. Man, I found some gold. I'm going to share it with you. Found some gold here in my Bible. I'm going to share it with everybody. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. If you'll listen, you'll grow. If you won't, you'll fail. Law 4. Number 1, choose FinSov. Number 2, live on less than you make. Number 3, have a plan for your money. Law 4, stay away from debt. How do we do this? We don't invest while in debt, and we get out of debt before investing, except mortgage. That's how we follow Law 4. Let's just clean this up a little bit so it's a little easier to read, because I really like this. This is good. This is very good. Law 5. Law 5. And this is where we actually get to investing. Law 5. we will save and invest. We will save an emergency fund before investment in the market. We will invest on a consistent basis, DCA, and we will save cash for the dip. That's how we'll live out Law 5. I hope you're seeing how this all actually ties together. A lot of people are like, Jay, what are you talking about this whole FinSoft stuff? What does this have to do with anything? This is what it has to do with it. Are you starting to see where the laws of money actually inform how you should operate in cryptocurrency? Because when you start to build your life on principles, you get remarks like this. Oh, you didn't even consider that. Oh, you didn't even think about it. Oh, you didn't even listen to me. You know what happens when a credit card comes in the mail? I cut it in half. I kind of want to just pile them all in a file. We have to get a new roof. We've got a new roof that we've got to get. They offered us financing for the deductible. I cut the guy off. I said, we don't do that. It's okay. I don't need financing. And even if we did, I wouldn't do it. And he was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, I really respect that. I try not to either. And, he's being a salesman, so he's just agreeing with me on everything. But, I really do think that he probably believed it. Who knows? But I said, no, we don't do financing. We just don't do debt, period. I don't care if we had to pay for the roof out of pocket. We would either just pay it out of pocket, or we would have to wait and get a new roof after we could afford it. But, luckily insurance is going to cover it. $1,000 deductible. New roof for $1,000. I'll take it. Yes, thank you very much, John. Thank you very much, Alex. But it's a principled response. Oh, I don't do that. Wait, but you didn't even consider it. No, I already considered it. Because I know that I'm going to run into this conversation 15,000 times in my life. I know I'm going to open the mailbox and there's going to be, in the course of my life, probably 10,000 credit cards that are going to come in. I don't want to waste the time of sitting there thinking every single time, oh, should I get this credit card or not? No, I know for a fact I don't do debt, period. Makes life a lot easier when you have some solid principles. It's what makes a man a man. You know what you believe and you stand on it. And you are confident in it, and it doesn't change unless you've got a really good reason to change it. When it's biblical, it don't change, period. This will never change. Till the day I die, the 6 laws I'm teaching you will be coming out of my mouth. Law 6, be radically generous. Not just a little, radically generous. Jesus Christ was radically generous with you when he suffered the cross to save your soul. How dare we be anything less? How dare we? How dare we be anything less? Does that mean that Jesus gave everybody who asked something of him what they asked for? No. But it does mean that he had a heart of radical generosity, that if the Father led him to do something generous, even if he didn't want to, because he did not want to go and suffer the cross, he did it because he served God and he loves him. Be radically generous. How do we enact this? When we build wealth in crypto, we remember that the wealth is not the goal. Yeah, I said it. The wealth is not the goal. We remember that the wealth is a tool to serve others. That is the true riches. That is the true wealth of this life, is to use everything that we have to serve others, namely God. I had a friend of mine who I've not spoken to in over 5 years text me. I was responding to him right before I went on stream. Just real quick, right before I went on stream, I responded to him. Last time we talked, I wasn't a Christian. I hadn't met the Lord yet. He reached out to me. I'm so excited. So excited that Kyle reached out to me. Shout out to Kyle if he's watching this. Love you, man. One of the things that goes through my head, first thing that goes through my head is, how do I show him the love of Christ? Because God knows I wasn't showing it to him before when I was an unregenerate fool. I'm looking back at the text conversations like, sheesh, Jeb, right? Well, the first thing that goes through my head is, what an opportunity. God led him to reach out and say, hey, Jeb, we haven't talked in a while. How are you doing? I watched the channel. I heard you have a wife and kids now. What's going on? And first thing that goes through my head is, how do I use our relationship that I've known him for almost 10 years? I haven't talked to him in 5, but known him for almost 10 years. How do I use my relationship to show him the love of Jesus Christ, which he and every single other of the 7.8 billion people on planet Earth need? There's a resource that I have called the relationship that I have and the history that I have with this man, this individual, this friend of mine. How do I use that resource, that relationship, to show him Christ's love? How do we use the wealth that God has entrusted us with to show the love of Christ to as many as possible? And when we have that heart, that is when we will be truly following all 6 laws of money from the first to the last. And then you will have true rewards in heaven for it. It's true. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to kind of close out on here. We started with the TA. Bitcoin's probably going to go through a corrective movement. We talked about the attack on Israel from Iran. That sucks. That's really not great. That's terrible, and it probably did cause some FUD. But the application here is that when we follow the laws of money, it doesn't really matter too much what the market does, because we are setting ourselves up to succeed. Because when the market says, oh my gosh, you want to sell? No. I did my due diligence in Law 1. I actually understand the market. I truly believe in it in the long run. Oh, well, hey, you're broke this month. Do you want to buy? No, I don't have any money. I'm flat broke. I'm going to lose $1,500 this month. I'm still trying to get through the first few steps of the FinSolve way. I can't invest right now. No. But think about it. No, I already thought about it. I follow the laws of money, period. Don't talk to me anymore. Stop. I gave you an answer. Be quiet. Have a plan for your money. Hey, we're either going to do this following a plan, or we're not going to do it at all. If we are going to invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, we're going to do it according to a plan, or not at all. I have, to a great degree, mastered, having a plan and following it for our money. I'm trying to do the same thing for our time now, because I'm not very good at time management, same way I wasn't very good at money management. These are things that I'm personally growing through. And I appreciate you guys having patience with me as I learn, because I've got a lot to learn, guys. I am still really young. You guys know that. What I'm speaking here, I speak with such authority because I'm not talking, I'm opening my mouth and the words of Christ are coming out when we talk about these specific things. I'm not saying I open my mouth and that's inspired scripture. I'm not saying that. But when I talk on the 6 laws of money, those are directly biblical. So I'm able to speak with authority on those things. But there are plenty of things that I need to grow in my own life, that I'm working through, that I'm trying to improve on, that maybe you guys can teach me, right? This is not Jeb's better than you. Jeb is not your guru. Jeb is simply a guy that went and read the Bible and was given a revelation about the way that money works. And he's here to share it with you because that's what's on my heart. So my point here is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency investment and wealth generation can be a joyful thing to the extent that you're following these laws. And this is where I want to caution you. If you make the foolish choice not to follow these laws of money, money will not be a joyful thing for you, because you will not be honoring God with it. It will not be a joyful experience, money. And the reason that most people are not having a joyful experience with money, even though I believe God intended for you to have a joyful experience with money, is because they are not following these laws of money. Think about it. Think in your life about anyone that you know that is not joyful when it comes to money. And in which case, they're probably not joyful about any part of their life. Are they breaking any of these laws? Are they financially sovereign? Have they submitted their money to God, and are they in control of it? Do they live on less than they make? Do they have a plan for their money? Do they stay away from debt? Do they save and invest? Are they radically generous? Or do they break one, most, or all of these laws? You find me a person that actually follows these 6 laws, and I will show you a person that has great joy and peace when it comes to money. And I will show you somebody that honors God with their wealth, because they remember from the first law, which is that they must submit their money to God through financial sovereignty, to the last law, which is being radically generous, that is not their money in the first place, but they are simply a steward. They realize peace and joy when it comes to this topic. And so if you want to succeed with money, keep listening and be in your word. Read what God has to say about it. It will radically change your life. Shout out to Indie Rock Crypto. Said, I'm 38 and you're blowing my mind. Love seeing you're still the GOAT. I am not the GOAT. I am... Nobody else is teaching this stuff, which is sad, and I welcome anybody to teach it that wants to. I implore you, please, go share financial sovereignty with people. And pray for me, guys. I've got so much to learn. I've been following the Lord Christ for 5 years. My God, I've got so much to learn. I really do. I feel like I just started. I'm at the point where I'm like, man, I just see this great chasm between me about where God wants me to be and where I am. And I think to myself, Lord, help. You know, I want to be over there and just, I'm on fire for Christ. I always am. But goodness gracious, I've got some growing to do, man. And it doesn't discourage me. It brings me hope, but it's definitely a temptation to be discouraged sometimes. I'm like, man, I could be doing so much better. But I know I will, because it is not I who live, but Christ who lives in me, Galatians 2:20. And I know that he's going to work on me and he's going to grow me. And the vision that he has placed on my heart will come to pass so long as I get out of the way and I live long enough to see it. You guys are going to hear a lot more about financial sovereignty, and this ministry will grow in its quality and in its scale so long as I stay humble enough to be led of Christ. And yeah, that's the main thing. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed today's stream. Please pray for me. Please help me to know what exactly I need to do to grow this ministry that I have before you guys in a way that would honor God. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. I appreciate all your patience and all of your prayers as we go through this hard time, what with the hurricane hitting and the cleanup we're having to do on that, what with us having a baby and us having some very difficult postpartum pain. We're in and out of doctor's appointments, never sure if we're about to have to go to the hospital. It's very difficult to, live in a schedule when you're like, oh, I could have to go to the hospital in 2 minutes from now at any point. So please pray for us on that. I really appreciate you guys' prayers for my wife and your continued support. And I look forward to seeing a time where the fields are a little bit greener, or at least I've grown a little bit and we're able to lead this better. I really appreciate all of you for being here. We're going to wrap it out. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.